All right, welcome everyone. First live stream of 2022. No, not 2022, 2023. All right, I'm super excited about this one. Welcome everyone. Remember to hit the like button so we can get the YouTube algo activated and get some more people in here. Also, before we go into the actual analysis, we have a lot to look at today. We have the crypto market absolutely. It's moving very, very beautifully. And with this volatility, I'm thinking I want to show you the new RLZ Slingshot Indicator and do some scalping with it now that we got some nice volatility. We also have to remember that we have the FOMC coming up later today, which might or might not. Well, who am I kidding? It's going to affect the crypto markets, which is, it's always interesting when you get these pumps right before a major news event like the FOMC. And before we go into the charts, I want to recommend you, not recommend, but I want to thank Prime XBT for sponsoring the channel. If you want to support me, you can go to the link in the description below, sign up to Prime XBT and use the code LIPS42 to sign up, and you will get up to 7K USD deposit bonus. On Prime XBT, you can trade the altcoin market, including Bitcoin, as well as the Forex market, the legacy markets. They got commodities and the Forex market and indices and all fun stuff. Now, let's go into the crypto market. Let's start off with looking at the crypto market right here. And we want to... All right, we got Patrick. What's up, Patrick? Odin. And we have this guy. Atlas, I know who you are. It's not Atlas Racer. Well, that's your... Never mind. What's up, guys? Welcome. So this one right here. Yeah, so I posted it on Twitter. I'm like, it hit TP1, TP2, TP3. Congratulations, everyone who followed this. Everyone but me is what I'm thinking, because I actually exited this one, right? So let me... What's up? Got Tomek here as well. And you have access to the RLZ Slingshot Indicator right here. So I'm gonna go through some settings on that one, and so it's just like the first beta version is released on TradingView. It's a private indicator, invite only. So I've invited the current students of the program to kind of test it out as a beta version, and then at a later stage, it's going to be available for a small fee for everyone to use. Of course, it's going to be free for the program students, but we're going to go through the settings of this indicator, show you how you can, adjust it to different trading styles and how you can use it to get alerts on scalping, and how I use it as a market scanning tool. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure you're referring to me and maybe you as well, because I'm pretty sure you exited this one as well. I did. Man, look at this. This is like... Look at this. I posted this yesterday. I'm like, let's go long. A market entered XMR. I think a market entered a little bit higher, so I got filled right here. And then a couple of hours later, I exited here. Because like the reasoning for that, let me go over the reasoning for that was this. Now it's stuck, so I gotta reload the page here. Just give me a second. The reason why I exited that one is simply because we had that very clear rejection here on Bitcoin. Very clear rejection on Bitcoin at the range EQ, and kind of looked like it wanted to come lower. I also remember talking about a potential short here on Bitcoin, but I also said that we're not going to short Bitcoin here because of the fact that we have the weekly open and the monthly open, which is actually all inside this indicator. So if you take away this indicator, you'll see that everything kind of goes away. Every indicator goes away, except the stochastic RSI, of course. But everything is in this new indicator. So you have the weekly open, the monthly open, the high time frame EMA, and the lower time frame EMA, everything like that. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, we had the weekly open right here and the monthly open. So I said, we're not going to go short here because the weekly open and monthly open is too close to entry, and they're most likely going to be used as support. So this is actually a good example of how you want to use the weekly and monthly open. Imagine if the weekly and monthly open were not on the chart here. So imagine if you had a chart looked like this, and you had a rejection, and you didn't have any weekly and monthly open. Now, of course, you could say that this is a support area right here, which is obviously it is. So you see that this rejection was also kind of like a break and retest. So you had a break and retest of this level right here, while at the same time having a rejection at the range EQ. So you're kind of having a possible long idea and at the same time also giving you a possible short idea. And when that happens, I usually try to stay out of the trade. So that was the reason why I wanted to exit XMR. Now look at what happened on XMR right after, not right after, but when I woke up, I'm like, oh, look at this, you know. And that's just what trading is all about, really. I think there's when something like this happens, you have to ask yourself, did we make any mistakes, right? Did we make any mistakes? I think everyone got out of XMR because I posted, you know. So, but did we make any mistakes? And I think we have to kind of go through, and first we have to, like, what I do when I try to answer that question, if I made a mistake, we have to go through the whole process of finding the trade. So that's, you know, step number one is finding the trade, and we then had to ask yourself, what was the trade based on? Was it based on sound technicals? Was it based on, you know, good technicals? Was it based on the actual system? So let's first look at that. So we'll use the replay function to kind of see what was this trade all about and was it any good. By the way, guys, TradingView has actually entered buy and sell buttons in the replay function. So you're able to you're going to be able to buy and sell in the replay function, and it's going to calculate your profit and loss. So very interesting, very interesting. I hope they continue improving that function, because that's going to be a really good function for people that like to do backtesting, which should be everyone doesn't have to like it, but you should be doing it, right? So this is where I find the setup, right? Now there's two things. Well, one thing basically I want to talk about, and that is the fact that you have this blue dotted line. That's the weekly open, and you guys know that when, just like the Bitcoin short, right, where you had the weekly open and the monthly open very close to entry, and we haven't really we never really reclaimed the weekly and monthly open on Bitcoin. Same thing here. We're trading right below the weekly open. So that's one thing that I might have to comment on and say, you know, maybe and this is a great question, which I'm going to cover right after. And it definitely, part of this analysis is going through the aspect of asking if this is possibly a overmanaging of a trade, which is probably is. But part of me exiting this trade is actually the position of the weekly open, right? So the weekly open was here, and that was the only thing that did not align with my system. So you have the stochastic RSI, very good. On this 4-hour candle, you have a well, actually you have right here a bull cross on the stochastic RSI. The bounce is happening on the 4-hour 20 EMA, confluent with the long RLZ right here, the reload zone, and you're getting like around the bottom in a local uptrend. And then if you look at the overall structure of Monero, you'll see that it's actually in a somewhat of a bullish high time frame market structure as well, and one of the very few altcoins that is above both the daily 20 and the daily 50 EMA. So this gave a very good, interesting move, and everyone was just super bullish. Like, I was on Twitter, I woke up and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, why is everyone so bullish with Bitcoin at resistance? And I do think I got a little bit influenced by the bullishness of everyone I was following, right? So maybe that kind of influenced me to take a trade here on Monero. It turned out that this was a good trade, right? But the fact that we never reclaimed the weekly open, what we want to see is this candle kind of closing above the weekly open to make sure that the weekly open is not the resistance area that causes a drop to the downside. So if we used to have a 4-hour candle closing above the weekly open, that would be a better point of entering. Now let's see what happens here. You see here clearly that the weekly open was used as resistance, and I want you guys to check the candle that forms right now when I press forward. It's going to be bearish, and then it's going to close as like a doji or something. But look at the price action that happens here. Right, so you see right here that's a fairly bearish candle, and then right before closing that forward candle, it closes as a indecisive bullish candle. and the weekly open was clearly being used as resistance. So the fact that the Bitcoin chart showed us a rejection right here, and weekly open on Monero acted as resistance, that was my reasoning to exit, because I hesitated when entering this trade because of the weekly open had not been reclaimed, right? So what I should have done instead was I should have entered this trade, and before entering the trade, I should have just told myself that I'm accepting that this trade is not perfect, and I have to accept the fact that price have not reclaimed the weekly open. But you have to make a decision. Either you're going to take the trade or you're not going to take the trade. If you're somewhere in between, you're going to overmanage it, and that's where we're coming to the overmanaging part, right? I entered this trade, but I didn't accept the fact that it was not above the weekly open, right? So I was still indecisive even after entering the trade, and that is the reason why I exited the trade. What I should have done instead was just say, I risked 0.5%. Normally I risk 1% per trade. On this one, I risked 0.5% because Bitcoin were at resistance. Now that's all I have to do. Like, the trade is already done. I've already managed my risk, and I lowered my risk with 50%. So I should have just let this trade run. Instead, what I did was I'll let that fear and that hesitation of the weekly open not getting reclaimed, I'll let that kind of control my overmanaging of the trade. And this kind of thought process that I went through now is something you have to go through. I'm not saying that's something I had to go through. I'm saying that's something you have to go through as well. Everyone has to go through this after making a mistake. You have to kind of go through the whole process of from finding the trade to exiting the trade. Where did you go wrong? And in my case, I did wrong when I decided to not accept the trade as a less than perfect trade. Now, if I would have done that, this would have happened, and we would have been in some really good profit. Now, the depending on where you are trading, the spread can be quite big, because you'll see that like it's only a couple of ticks. What I mean, and with ticks or pips or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, we're not calling it pips in the crypto market, but you'll see that it's only one, two, three ticks, which is the minimal movement price can do till from that wick to this stop loss. So it might be the case that some would have been stopped out on the spread here. I don't think so, but maybe depending on where you're trading. Definitely be trading on like a legacy broker. You would definitely be stopped out on that wick, which is why it's quite problematic trading altcoins like this one on a non-crypto broker. But yeah, if you're in this still, just move stops to entry. But just move stops to entry and let this one hit TP. Now, if you're super bullish, remove last TP and just let it go with a trailing stop loss. And you guys know how I trail my stop loss. It's we use the 4-hour swing points. So this is 1 4-hour swing point. This is one here, one here. We use that as the new stop loss level. So if we get something like this, we're gonna move stop loss here, and then we get something like that, we're gonna move stop loss here. However, I think crypto is gonna go like. We're getting a pump into the FOMC. So let's take a quick look at the FOMC or the economic news calendars, which is got one right here. So let's go to, where is it? We got the economic calendar right here. Today is January the 4th, and we have the FOMC for the USD at 2000 this evening, which is 1900 UTC, 9 p.m. UTC. So in 9 hours and 45 minutes, we have the FOMC. And it's interesting to note that we're getting this pump in the crypto market and a move lower in the dollar currency index ahead of the FOMC. So I would say, you know, we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful with, you know, going all in or going all crazy, start buying altcoins all over the place, because we have a major news event coming up. And for that reason, I'm going to personally be very careful trading anything today, because it makes no sense taking swing trades when you have a major news event coming up in 10 hours, right? Because, you know, 10 hours on a swing trade is nothing. However, what we could be doing is we could be looking at some scalps, and that's what I want to do today. We want to look at some possible scalps in the altcoin market after going through some of the interesting altcoins that I've also covered on Twitter. So we have right here, we have Tesos, and I'm going to go through this quickly. So what we have here is Tesos, and I think this is just a picture perfect like reversal move. Not a reversal move, I mean, this is just a bear market rally. I would say this is just a rally in an overall downtrend. You can clearly see how it's still a downtrend. If you go to the daily, I mean, it's very much a downtrend. This move right here means very little. However, if you have Bitcoin kind of breaking out and you have some relative strength in the altcoin market and you want to take some long exposure, something like this makes perfect sense, where you want to see in this case, you have like a double bottom, right? A double bottom, nice double bottom, W formation right here, clear resistance and a clear support and resistance. And above you have a clear resistance area as well. And that resistance area lines up perfectly with the short RLZ. And the short RLZ, I should say, is measured from that high right there down to that low. And you'll see that a lot of altcoins look very similar. They all have the same structure right here. And if some starts moving, you're going to see other altcoins kind of, you know, they're lagging behind. So they're going to start moving maybe a couple of hours or a day after. And we have some good examples right here. So Tesos is one of those who have hit the target zone right here without really giving us a rounded retest of this resistance area right here. You might want to go down to the 1 hour, and on the 1 hour you do have some very interesting opportunities to catch this move right here. And I'm talking about, of course, this one right here, where you have a break above this area, you have a break above this area, and then you have a 1 hour bullish candle. It's not a pin bar, but I like the fact that it has a fairly big body and a very big wick right here. So it's a pretty good bullish candle right here on the 1 hour, and that would have been a really good entry for a scalp. Now with my system, I wouldn't be able to catch this because what I need is also I also need to have the stochastics RSI to be confident with this right here, which is not. But you can very easily trade this just on price action, because if you go out to the 4 hour, and this is your general idea right here, this is your idea. Now it's obviously going to be risky, because if you're basing this on the 1 hour, you're basically going to buy a resistance area, and we never want to buy resistance, right? But if you're confident or you have some conviction that it's going to move higher and you feel like it's highly probable that it's going to move higher, why not try to buy the 4 hour breakout by using an entry on the 1 hour? And because of the fact that you're buying resistance, maybe use a little bit lower risk than the normal, because the risk to reward on a trade like this one can be very good. So first we have to kind of look at where would this idea be invalidated. Now, of course, this would be the obvious level to have your stop loss below for invalidation. But because of the fact that we're playing something like this a little bit more aggressively, we might want to look at this level right here. So let's add a level right here. Let's see where that comes in. So it's two ways to trade this, right? So you have that 1 hour candle closing right there. And what I'm talking about is a move like this, 2.5 hour move, pretty good, right? But if you want to scalp this, this is where the RLZ Slingshot Indicator might come in handy. So if you want to scalp this just on normal price action, you want to have a tight stop loss, like something like this, above the wick of the candle that kind of created this. And you have a 4 hour trade. Very interesting, right? And it kind of lines up also with the 4 hour, because that stop loss, it's not a very tight stop loss, but it's still below the whole zone, right? So if this would be a fake ad, you would get stopped out, right? But this is still a pretty good trade, a 4-hour trade. Very simple, simple strategy to use. Now, of course, I wanted to wait for the rounded retest right here. Now, of course, that never happened. Now let's see if you could have catch this move on the 15-minute using the RLZ Slingshot Indicator. Now, I'm not talking about a specific long signal, because you'll see here that there's not many long signals right here. But you don't really need a signal to be able to trade this, because what it's all about is it's about trying to catch the trend. And what I do is I'm basically using this wave right here. And whenever we have a hit of either the upper part, you can adjust all the moving averages, and I'm going to go through the settings, but you can adjust all the moving averages right here. So you can choose which one you use. And right now I have the 20, the 50, and the 51. And the reason why I have the 51 and not the 100 is because this is the swing settings of the indicator, where I'm only really interested in the 20 and the 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this one. Copy. I'm going to have 2 of these. Remove the swing one, and then I have a scalping one right here. So we'll add the 100 as well. Why we want the 100 on chart when scalping is because we want more, because we want to make sure that all the 3 EMAs are nicely, evenly fanned out right here. So what I do is when I have a move like this, we look at where the bounce happens, right? So you'll see here that this candle right here hits the reload zone perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And you can see that you have a horizontal level right here. That horizontal level goes straight through the middle of the overall support and resistance zone, right? And you'll also see here that on the 4-hour, this is also, I believe this would be the 20 EMA on the 4-hour as well. So what you can do here, this is on the 15-minute. And now here's the cool part. You want to look at where the higher time frame EMAs are. So you go into settings, look at higher time frame EMA right here. I have it set to the daily, but we want to look at the 4-hour. So look at the 4-hour, not 4 days, 4-hour. 4-hour and 4-hour. What that's going to give us is the 4-hour 50 and the 4-hour 20 EMA on the chart. No matter what time frame we're on, we're always going to find the 4-hour moving averages. And if we can find confluence with higher time frame EMAs and lower time frame EMAs, we have a perfect scalping opportunity. And this is just absolutely beautiful. I'm going to show you this. It's just picture perfect. So we have the 20, the 50, and the 100 EMA on the chart. We have higher time frame settings as daily and the 20. And down here we have the high time frame one is 4-hour 20 and then 4-hour 50. What I like to do is I like to go into settings, and I like to shift this to line with breaks, and this one as well to line with breaks. And basically what it does is the high time frames EMA, they're going to be just dots like this, and then the ones with trading is going to be solid lines. Now look at this. You can see here that it's not very clear, but you can see right here that the 4-hour 20 EMA is here. And I like when it's not that clear because I want like clean charts. But you see here that that's the 4-hour 20 EMA right here. And you see that the 15-minute hits the 4-hour 20 EMA right here. So let's use the replay function right here. Imagine you're seeing this. Imagine you're seeing this. Now there's 2 ways to play this. 2 ways to play this. Either you just place long orders down here, just blind long orders on, anticipating a hit of this level right here. And the way I place my orders is I want that to be the average risk to reward. Sometimes when scalping, you want to have like an entry, and then you want to enter with 100%, and you want to exit with 100%, but you want to use a trailing stop instead of having multiple take profits. So that's also one way to do it. And let's try that with this one. So you have entry right here. Stop loss is well below the reload zone all the way down here. But if you want to be risky, if you want to wait for confirmation, you can have a tighter stop loss. Let's look at that as well. So you see here, price comes down, hits that level right there, starts moving higher. And now the interesting part here, look at where the 4-hour 50 EMA is. The 4-hour 50 EMA is right here, which is confluent with the minus 0.618. So this is where you have, this is the like a perfect example of how you can combine low time frame moving averages with high time frame moving averages. And when the high time frame moving averages align with the entry and exit, you know you have something golden. This does not happen very often, but it happens often enough across all markets to be able to trade this profitably long term. So let's see what happens right here. We were going to move, we were going to trail our stop loss, right? So let's place the stop loss here. This is our original stop loss right here, wide and nice. You have a move higher. So let's see if we can create a swing point on the 15-minute right here. What I'm going to do is when the 0% fib gets hit, I'm going to move stops below that swing point. So let's see if that 0% gets hit right there. So we move our stop loss up here. And we might have another swing point right here. And we're going to move our stop loss to below that swing point right here. And that's our TP. You see right here, it hits the 4-hour 50 EMA in perfect confluence with the minus 0.618. And that's going to be our TP. Now, this is very simple. Very simple. It's a 3.3 hour trade. How long did it take us from entry to TP? It took us 10 hours. So this is definitely, easily something you can enter in the morning and then use alerts to help you out to manage the trade. And yes, you can, let's say you have a full-time job where you, like, if you can't do this full-time, I don't really recommend doing this, but if you do have a full-time job where you're able to use your phone, you can definitely enter this in the morning and then kind of follow the trade over the course of the day. And all you have to do is just go into your trading app on your phone and just move that stop loss up based on the alerts that you're getting. So you have to kind of monitor this every second, every third hour, or something like that. So it doesn't really have to be that complicated if you try to adjust your trading and your trading style to your live situation and that sort of stuff. Now, here's the interesting part. What if we manage to get a scalp entry on a swing trade? So let's take a look at this. Now, this is the entry. And if we're going to use, if we're only going to use the fibs for entry, I have a template where I just add the reload zone plus the 50. So like this, right? But we're going to use higher targets for this one, right? So we go to the 4-hour and we go back. Like, where's the actual target, right? So maybe we'll look at so we can look at the daily. So what happens if you look at the daily? On the daily, you'll see that it's 20, 50. So let's say that would be like the midpoint of the 0 point, the midpoint of the high time frame short reload zone. That's going to be TP. So that's going to be TP right there. And what we want to do is we want to continue trailing our stop loss all the way up to that level. And that's going to be a 7.3R trade. Really, really good. So let's see what happens. All we have to see is another rounded bottom. It gets pretty scary here, right? But when it's like a breakout, yeah, so that's a breakout. Another move to the upside. Good. Now we can move our stop loss slightly up to this level. And we have another one, so we'll move it up here. Yeah, I think that's good. Well, we can stop that right here, which is obviously unfortunate. I mean, I guess you could have used that one right here as stop loss, and you might have been in still. But still, exiting in that one is still a pretty good, 3-hour trade. Let's see what happens here. Yes, it starts moving higher here. and hit that last TP. So you'll definitely see the potential right here. So what we did here was we combined the lower time frames with the higher time frames, and this is the beauty of this indicator, especially when scalping. You can go into the 50 minute and look for confirmation of different time frames and different moving averages. And the thing is, we can use whatever time frame we want, like whatever EMAs we want, and if lots of different settings right here. So one thing I like is we can use the stochastics filter, right? So the stochastics filter will filter all the signals based on where the stochastics RSI is. So if I take that off, you'll see that you're going to most likely have more long signals. You have one right here. Now that's a beautiful one, right? Because this actually aligns with the system quite nicely. So you'll add the RLC right here. Well, actually it doesn't, because but it's a fairly interesting signal right here. If you add the main template right here, you can easily see how you would have entered on that signal right here. Stops below the price action that kind of created the signal, and then TP at the minus 0.618, and that would be a 2.75 hour trade. So there's so much potential right here. But the difference between this long signal and that long signal is, on this signal you had the stochastics RSI down here, and on this signal you had the stochastics up here. So if you add the stochastics filter, you want to be getting that signal. But the signals that you do get with that filter is, in my opinion, better. Now this is on the 50 minute. Now this indicator for me is optimized to be used on the 4 hour as a market scanner, but I'm looking more into trying to adjust it to scalping. So let's actually take a look at a couple of live examples. Let's look at let's see if we can find any altcoins that is, and if you know any, just let me know. But we're going to look at some altcoins that are giving us some nice moves, but it's not hitting resistance. So obviously right here we see Tesos is hitting resistance right here, and we want to be basing it on the 1 hour. Algo, see what's Algo doing. So we want to be doing the scan in 4 hours. Now Algo is obviously looking very, very good because it has a lot of room to the upside. I think maybe Algo would be a potential scalp opportunity right here. We have also a potential swing opportunity on Algo right here, which would look something like this, where you come down and you hit the 0.1840 level right here, which is a pretty good level. And I also think it's confluent if we add these the swing settings indicator. You also see that it's also the daily 20 EMA right here. So we're going to be changing some settings right here, going to style, and we're going to be placing line with breaks on that one as well, so it looks a little bit better. So right here we have the daily 20 EMA for Algo. Now what we want to see here is we want to see a rounded retest of this level right here, which it looks like we're going to get that in the later tonight. Now unfortunately this retest right here is most likely going to happen when the FOMC is coming out. It's never a good idea to trade during the FOMC, obviously. But this is more like an educational look at Algo to give you some ideas on how you might trade this in the future if you're seeing something similar. And we're also going to go into the lower time frames to see if we can find any possible scalps. But this would be the trade, right? If you add the fib from that low to this high, you'll see that it aligns perfectly with the reload zone. The level right here, the breakout level, aligns absolutely perfectly with the midpoint of the reload zone, as well as the daily 20 EMA. So in a scenario like this, where if you don't want to wait for confirmation, you can just place orders right here. Just place orders right here. And if you're going to be trading this based on the system, you would have that as your TP. But looking at, it does look pretty good here, right? So you might want to have a TP, like last TP all the way up here. Now, remember when we did that 15 minutes. We looked at that possible 15-minute scalp on Tesos, right? Now this is exactly the same thing, but instead of using the 15-minute and the 4-hour moving averages, we're using the 4-hour and the daily moving averages, right? So you'll see here, if you go back to Tesos, we looked at the 15-minute, right? And we entered here on the bounce on the 15-minute moving averages and the 20 EMA and 4-hour, and our target was the 4-hour 50 EMA. Now, if we go to Algo with the swing settings, you'll see that we're using the main time frame being the 4-hour, and the daily 20 EMA is right here, and the daily 50 is right here. So it's the same thing, but it's just one time frame above. For me, at least, that's one trading space above, if you will. So that would be the trade. Now, as you can see right here, we're not using the extensions of this fib tool for targets, so we can just remove that template, and instead we'll use only the reload zone, because we're really interested only in this area right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add TP areas based on price action instead of using the fib extensions. So TP1 could be right here. So we'll do TP1 25% move stop loss to entry. Or just stop loss to entry, right? TP1 25% stop loss to entry. Now up here would be our TP last TP, right? So what we do is we'll do TP2 75%, right? Now you also want to check what's the average R of this trade. Where is your average exit if you exit 25% here and 75% here? And it's quite simple, right? In the middle, right? So this is somewhere around here is the middle. So if you exit 50% here and 50% here, that's going to be the middle point. But we instead exit 25% here and 75% here. So logically, the average exit should be between the midpoint and the 75 point. So that's going to be right here. So that's going to be our average exit, which is going to be 3.7. Very, very good. You always have to look at the average risk to reward of all the trades. You're going to see people, they're going to be posting on Twitter like 10R trades or 20R trades or something like that. But a 20R trade is never going to be a 20R trade if you exit 75% at the first trouble area and then you're just letting it run. A lot of people do it like that. They enter a trade, they take like a lot of profits early, they secure the position, and then they let it run. And when it hit that last TP, they're like, look at this 35R trade. And you're like, I want to look at the order, history of that trade, because the only thing that matters, is the ad. Like, how much money did you actually make on that trade as compared to how much you risked? That's all that matters. Like, I don't care if I see it 100 times, like 100R trade. It doesn't matter. Like, how did you exit that trade? How much R did you actually make in profit on that trade? And this trade right here would be a 3.5R trade, not a 4.7, which is a huge difference, and it's very important. In my opinion, though, everything above 2 is good. All right, so that's Algo. That's the swing setup on Algo. So I'm going to save a chart on that one, and now we're going to be looking at a possible scalp trade on Algo. We're going to activate the scalping indicator. Let's look at the 1 hour. So you know what, this is actually is not. So I really do like the 1 hour time frame right here. I really do like the trend here on the 1 hour, and I think it's also a good experiment here to check how many of these dips, how many of these swing lows have been created inside the reload zone. So you'll add the first one, so not that one. Here you have a perfect one right there. Look at that one. So see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's one. So only really one of these hit the reload zone. Now, why? Well, I guess 2 out of 4 hit the reload zone right here. And men du, jag har ett livestream. Du kan inte vara här nu. Jag har ett möte. Ja, men gå ut till mamma. Vad gör du här? Kids, huh? They're like working out outside. Like I don't know what they're doing. I have this bench press and a lot of weights outside. I'm afraid they're gonna break a leg or something. Or, oh man. So if they come in here with like a skull broken and there's like blood everywhere, I might have to end the webinar, but only then. So why I'm doing this, why I'm like adding the fibs to this trend right here is I want to look at the behavior of the trend. So I want to look at what's the behavior of this trend, and can I find something that might repeat itself to take a possible trade. And looking at the hit of the reload zone right here, I'd say that the RLZ has only been hit twice out of the 4 times that it 4 times possible. That's not a very good statistics, but it doesn't really matter because what you can see here is a very clear trend where the area between the 1 hour 20 and 50 EMAs, that buffer zone is being used very nicely as a area of good bounces. And this is also a good reason why I'm using the stochastics RSI in my trading, because you'll see that the stochastics RSI right here is below 30, like it's in the it's below 30 while that bounce happens right here. Same thing here, below 30 while that bounce happens right here, and below 30 here while that bounce and long signal happens right there as well, and same thing here. So that this is a very good trend. So what we're looking for is basically this part to repeat itself, right? So we want to see thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's very sweet. Running in here screaming. I'm kidding. I love them sometimes. So this is we want to see this trend repeating itself, right? We want to see a hit of the 20, the area between the 20 and 50 EMA, and we also want, now because we have a very great support and resistance area right here, right? That's the area we want to see get hit, and we'll add the fibs to that one, and you'll see that the fibs line up perfectly with that horizontal level right there as well. And then what I like about these types of trades right here, this is a trade based on the 1 hour, but if you go back to the 4 hour and add the swings here, you'll see that you also have the daily 20 EMA in the same area, and it also lines up nicely with a 4 hour resistance area right here as well, a 4 hour support area right here. So this is actually one of the altcoins that I'm definitely looking at closely for a possible trade. And yeah, I do think TP1 and TP2 makes sense, because it's a trade from the daily 20 EMA up to the 50 EMA based on the 1 hour trend, and also complement with the 4 hour. So I quite like that. This area right here would be the entry area. Now, when taking a trade that's already confirmed, I mostly use the reload zone and the 0.786 as my stop loss level. So imagine if you have a 1 hour candle that comes down like this, and you have a 1 hour bullish engulfing candle like that. If that happens, I enter on the close of the 1 hour bullish engulfing candle, and the stop is going to be right below the 0.786, and the TP1 is going to be 1.52R, and I guess the average R would be 6 or something. So very, very good trade, this one. Now, if I enter blindly without confirmation or with not as good confirmation, let's say I just place blind orders right here, I would have to have the stop loss all the way down here, to make sure that I don't get stopped out on some crazy wick or something like that. And still, it would be a 4R trade. Now, would I prefer a 6R trade or a 4R trade? Well, obviously, I will take a 6R trade every day of the week. However, if the 4R trade is much safer with a much wider stop loss, I would absolutely go with the 4R trade, because it's just a much nicer way of trading, you know, way less stress. So I'm going to be adding an alert right here. One alert right here. Look for entry. Look for entry. Right, so that's algo. Tesos is all that this move has already happened on Tesos, so we're looking at algo to kind of create something interesting right here. Now, of course, the long on algo, it could also happen on the 50% fib right here. So it could also happen higher. It could also be on that level right there. Actually, you know what? I kind of have to raise my stop loss a little bit here. It sounds like they're lifting weights outside my office. He's screaming like. I make a lot of sounds when I work out. So my 5-year-old, he goes down in the basement where I have like a small gym. He starts lifting weights and he screams like crazy. I'm like, you gotta calm down. You don't have to do that. He thinks, you know, because I make a lot of sounds, he thinks that's part of trading, and that's like, so he thinks, you know, one part of actually training and getting strong is screaming. So he's like, takes a pair of weights and he just screams. So we got CRV. This is another one which is very, very interesting right here. So we got the 4-hour. You see right here, we have the 4-hour and the breakout level, and that upper part of this support and resistance zone is confluent with the daily 20 EMA, and it's also confluent with a pretty good level on the 4-hour. So what we want to see here is we want to do something similar as to algo, right? So we got algo and CRV, and I really hate the fact that this is all going on while we had the FOMC coming up later today. It's such a it happens so often, and this coincidence, if you will, it happens so often. And usually what happens is if you have a very nice bullish move ahead of a major news event like this, from my own experience, I think it's most likely going to get faded during the the news event, which makes me very hesitant taking any trades like this. But because of the fact that I really like algo, and I like the levels here in algo, if we trade up here, let's just say as an example, if you trade up in this area, by the way, guys, remember to hit that like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. And I'm going to be trying to do way more of these educational live streams where I really do go deep into the actual setups that I'm taking and kind of explaining everything. Going to be doing much more of this in this year. So if you like what you're seeing, hit that like, and if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel if you want more content like this one. So yeah, I do like algo. And if we are trading in this area where we are right now, right before the FOMC, maybe it does make sense to put in the order right here with low risk. The problem is, that if the FOMC comes out and it's very bearish for risk assets, we might see something like this. We might see a wick all the way down here, right? It's very possible. And we would also obviously get filled and stopped out at the same time. So we have to use very low risk. However, it's also possible that we're just going to get a wick down here, right? And continue. So, but it's also possible we'll see something like this. So you got to be careful. I don't know. The best thing is not to trade it at all. And if you're going to be trading it, probably use like a quarter of what you usually risk. So we got algo and CRV. Let's make some analysis on CRV. See if we can find something. See if we can find something interesting on CRV. So we know that this is the level. We're going to the 1 hour, and it's probably the 50, right? Yeah. Wow. It's not probably the 50. It's like perfectly right on the 50% fib. So this is good. This is good. We also have the daily 20. We have the daily 50 up here. I like this. I like this. And for blind orders, without any confirmation, it would obviously be like, you know what I would do? I would probably just place it down here in the middle of the 50 and the 618. Good, because why not? And stop loss would be here. First TP here, maybe 25%. And the last TP up at the daily 50 EMA. So the very, very, very interesting setup here as well. And I would categorize this as a scalp because it's on the 1 hour, right? Maybe it's like more like a intraday day trade or intraday swing trade-ish type of trade. But the way I'm trading, I would categorize this as a scalp because I'm usually on the 4 hour and the daily. So going down to the 1 hour and maybe the 15 minutes for confirmation is, not very normal for me. Link is another one showing similar moves. However, what I like about the algo and CRV is they're actually above the daily 20 EMA. Link is actually below the daily 20 and the daily 50. So I'm not really liking what I'm seeing right here. Not really a fan of Link here. So I think right now algo and CRV are the most interesting one. And of course, XMR still very, very interesting. And even though I exited this one at around break even before this pump right here, I'm still very interested in this one. So I'm going to keep it on the list. I'm going to keep Link on the list as well, because there's not a lot of altcoins out there right now that's actually looking good. And Link is one of them, which looks somewhat good. So we still have to have it on the list. A lot of people have recommended me to look at EGLDs. We're going to look at that one as well. No, not at all. Like, this is not good. Not good. Let's go through this list right here to see if we can actually find something interesting to move to the first list. See if we can find any setups on this. We have a few minutes left. Before I'm done with the live stream. Let's see. All right. Rune USDT, not interesting. BNB, well, BNB is quite interesting. Definitely. So on BNB, it would be this. But then again, we have the daily 20. You know what? I'm just going to move this to, let's take a look at DOT. DOT. Yeah, DOT is looking interesting. Let's move that up to the first list. All right, guys, I actually don't have much time left. I have a meeting coming up and I got some stuff to do before the meeting. So what I will leave you guys with is a possible trade on Algo, a possible trade on CRV. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this list. I'm going to categorize the best altcoins and move it to the first list. And I will post in the RLZ Trading room to all the members. And if you want to check out the RLZ Trading room, you can sign up using the form in the description below. And also I have some major announcement. We're going to be officially launching everything most likely next week. And at that time, the indicator will be available for everyone to purchase for a small fee to check it out. And honestly, look at this signal. I'm not going to... It's not a blind buy and sell indicator. You're not going to get a signal and then blindly just buy and sell. But it's so fantastically good to use as a market scanner to set up alerts and get alerts to your phone. And you have to use minimal market scanning, and it's so customizable that I think a lot of people can benefit from this. At least try it out, see if you like it. And I think it has huge potential to use as a market scanner on the high time frames and a scalping tool. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I would like to thank you all for joining, and see you guys tomorrow in another live stream. All right. Take care.